So I got busy at work. I had to eat some fast food today.
Okay, I bet it was fried food, greasy food, gooey food.
That's besides the point. The point is, my heart attacked me. My disrespectful heart attacked me today.
But
Do you believe
Carmelo,
that?
no. You see, hearts don't attack. Your heart was basically just responding to the food that you fed it.
No, it attacked me. It attacked me. It like backstabbed me. No. It front stabbed me.
Oh.
I had a sharp pain going through my chest, and it attacked me. Do you believe that?
No, I don't believe that, and neither do they. No, not at all. So, you know what? Tonight's topic is when hearts attack. So why don't you stay and find out what Rico says about how to keep a healthy heart. You know, he has authored several health books and produces TV shows on health. So I think you will really enjoy joining our friends here and hearing about when hearts attack. Come on.
Yeah, hearts attack.
Come on.
Yeah, I want to report an assault on my body.
The heart attack hotline?
Yes,
Oh,
hello.
come on.
Hello,
Let's
this
go
is Heart
hear the
Attack
talk.
Hotline. How can I help you?
It's good to see you. Welcome back. Welcome back to When Hearts Attack. I want to make sure that I have some sound here. We have an exciting program for you tonight. Are you excited? I am. Let me just turn off this music so that we can get right into our presentation tonight. Hold on just a second. Well, let me just turn it down for a second until I get that music off, which was the house music. How's everyone doing tonight? Welcome back. It's good to see you. We have a very, very good program. Good to see you again. And Charmaine, right? Yes, good to see you as well. We have a very good topic tonight. You know, there are certain diseases that plague the world, and one of them is heart disease. It happens to be the #1 killer among people the world over. Number 2, do you know what number 2 is? Diabetes. Blood pressure. High blood pressure, that would be hypertension. Number 2, I'm sorry to tell you, is that C word, cancer. Diabetes comes up next, then hypertension. Upper respiratory disease comes after that. The bottom line is the #1 thing that's really killing us is heart disease. Last night I said that does anyone remember how often I said there's a heart attack? No, I didn't say 3 seconds. Where'd you get that from? I said every minute there is an actual heart attack. But you know what? It's actually every 40 seconds. Every 40 seconds. How long have I been up here just now? 2 minutes. How many heart attacks have happened? Oh, I have a good class of mathematicians. Wonderful, wonderful. All right, so let me get my slide up here. Tonight we have slides. Isn't that exciting? Tonight we have slides, so I'm excited. You'll see it in a second. You're going to love it. You're going to love it for sure. Now, here we go. Here we are. So we're going to get healthy by looking at when hearts attack. Did you know that you have 2 lives? Confucius says that you have 2 lives. 2 lives. Have you ever heard this? You have 2 lives. And the second begins when we realize we only have 1. So tonight, you have 1 life to live. You have one, like the soap opera. You have 1 life, and we want to make it our best life. Is that good? Yeah. How many of you have understood the principles from last night? Principles from last night. Good, good, good. And those principles, I even have it on my shirt tonight so you won't forget it. The new life. That's what it is. The principles that we are studying, the new life. And that is trusting more and stressing less, having refreshing rest, enjoying sunshine, nutrition. Oh, I've got so much to tell you about nutrition. Oh, you're going to learn some things. Between now and Sunday, you're going to be experts. You might already be experts. Have you noticed that when you tell people that I'm going on a healthier diet, right? I'm going to start eating healthier. I might even start eating plant-based. Suddenly, everybody becomes a nutrition expert. Where are you going to get your protein, right? And I like to answer, do you have an answer for that? My answer is, I'm going to get my protein the same way the elephants get theirs. Have you ever seen it? They don't eat any meat. Now, let me remind you that we are not here to tell you what to eat. All right, is that good? Yep. I want to just tell you how you can avoid having a heart attack, because the heart never, ever attacks you. But we, through lifestyle and how we live, stress, and how we eat, we attack our heart often. We don't want to do that. Now, here's some fun facts. Fun facts before we get into this. Stewardesses, plural, is the longest word you can type with only your left hand on the keyboard. Did you know that? That is completely useless information, but I love it. Lollipop. That happens to be the longest word you can type with only your right hand. Again, more useless information. How about this? Here's a COVID-19 fact. 87% of gym members didn't even know their gym was closed. Did you know that? Here's a fact. Your heart loves you more than anything and anyone in the world. It will keep beating for you. It will keep going. It will keep pumping blood for you. You know what? If you could live 500 years, your heart would keep beating if it stayed healthy. That heart was designed to beat for how long? You won't believe this. It was designed to beat forever. The only problem is we attack it constantly. But your heart loves you. Even when you're sleeping, it's working. You're exercising, it's working. Your heart loves you. It's an amazing organ. It's about the size of a clasped fist. It beats 100,000 times a day. Have you ever just sat around and counted? Don't do it. It's like watching paint dry. But it beats 100,000 times a day. Each minute your heart pumps 1.5 gallons of blood. A woman's average heartbeat is faster than a man's. You already knew that, though, didn't you? The synovial node, see that little electricity right there? Or they call it the SA node, is a group of cells that generates electrical current and is not plugged into anything. That's amazing, right? You know, the first heartbeat cell, or the heart cell, starts to beat early as 4 weeks. 4 weeks is when it starts. That's amazing in and of itself, isn't it? A hummingbird, fascinating creatures. Did you know that their heart beats 10 times a second? A blue whale has the largest heart, weighing over 400 pounds, 5 feet, size of a golf cart. That's pretty amazing. The Cleveland Clinic confirms that happiness and a strong sense of emotional vitality helps lower your risk of heart disease. And the first place we see that is in a study that was found in the Bible, a vegetarian diet. Regular exercise is the single most important key to heart health. And how much does it cost? Free. It's free, exactly. Now, in 1923, there was a horse race at Belmont Park. The riding horse was Sweet Kiss, and it was won by Frank Hayes. He won the race, but then he had a heart attack and died. Moral of the story? Be as in good health as your horse is, because you don't want it to finish the race without you, right? Are you with me so far? You with me? All right, very good. Rest in peace, Frank Hayes. Now, last night we looked at the blue zones. Now, I told you there was going to be a quiz. Anybody remember any of the blue zones? First of all, what is a blue zone? Blue zone is a place where organically people are living longer than everyone else, right? People are living longer, living into their 90s, yes, even into their 100s. And there are 5 of them. Does anyone remember where they are? God, I saw a finger. You're cheating. Just seeing if you all would be like, okay, all right, you're so smart. I'll play along with you all. Tell me where the longest living women are then. Is that up there too? No, it doesn't say that it's the longest living women. How about the longest living men? This is a good class. I like this class. Hey, Tim, you made it back. My guy, my guy. Good to see you, man. So the longest living men are where? Sardinia, Italy, up in the highlands. And I found out last night that my friend Tim here is Italian, right? Yeah. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it, right? Forget about it. There you go. And then we see Icaria, Greece. We then see the peninsula of Nicoya, Costa Rica, right? And then right here in the US of A is Loma Linda, California. Loma Linda, California. What are they doing so special over there? What are any of these places doing that's so special? They have the lowest rate of heart disease, lowest rate of hypertension, lowest rate of diabetes. They have the lowest rate of everything. So what is it that they're doing that's so special in Loma Linda? They're following the principles, remember? If you were not here last night, we talked about how the thing that was common among these 5 groups that has the largest concentration of centenarians is that they are not stressing. Why are they not stressing? Stress is normal. We saw that last night. It's a part of life. We get stressed over various things, but it's how you manage your stress. And part of the way that you manage your stress is by getting a good night's rest. If you don't sleep well, the body stresses out, produces more cortisol. That is the stress hormone. You don't get sunshine, you don't regulate those hormones. If you eat funny, who did this? They're playing a trick on me? You didn't see this happen. What? They were never out of order. All right, here we go. Now you're going to stand up for me, aren't you? There we go. The drunken banners. They're good. Okay, so nutrition, how we eat, and we talked about last night that there are foods that will stress us out, right? Anybody remember what those foods were? Just a couple. Caffeine. Sugar. What else? Cigarettes will definitely do that. What else? Alcohol, absolutely. So there are certain foods that you can eat that will stress out your body. But there are also foods that you can eat that actually lower your stress. I wonder what those are. We'll talk about it. Then we see exercise is important to managing stress. When we exercise, we burn up that hormone called cortisol. It actually burns it. Remember, I was running from a bear one time. You remember that story? Yeah, I burned some cortisol that day for sure. So we see that even drinking water, and I love the fact that you're bringing your water, drinking water helps us to be able to reduce our stress. There are those blue zones again. But here's what the National Geographic said. National Geographic actually did a huge article on the blue zones. And they were looking at the one that's here in the United States of America, which is, of course, Loma Linda, as we've already established. And notice what they said. They said residents of these places produced a high rate of centenarians, 100 years old or more, suffer a fraction of the diseases that commonly kill people in other parts of the developed world. and enjoy more years of good health. Boy, we can learn something from those who are living in these places, can't we? Yeah? So let's figure out tonight how we can avoid heart disease. Oh, fascinating stuff that we got here. Now, 5 habits that add years to your life. Healthy diet, exercise, maintain ideal weight, avoid alcohol, avoid smoking. Those are the things that we kind of identified that really play into your stress levels, right? So doing these 5 things will help you. Now, Dean Ornish, do you know who Dean Ornish is? Dean Ornish is a medical doctor who actually was the doctor who helped Bill Clinton when he had heart trouble. Anybody remember that? Bill Clinton, I'm going to show you a video that really brings this into focus. But it was Dean Ornish who was the one who he called upon to help him. And he has written several good books. One of them is Reversing Heart Disease. Yes, you can reverse it. In fact, you will find, friends, that just about any issue that you have can be reversed by just making the changes that we're talking about. Just simple changes that aren't expensive, that are accessible, and they do a powerful work. Now, here's what Dean Ornish says when you look at what he's talking about in reversing some of these chronic illnesses. He says, eat well, move more. I love the way he simplifies it. Eat well, move more, stress less, and love more. And when you've got a heart that's healthy, you can love longer. You can love better. You can have much more energy, right? Without pain and suffering, right? All right, let's keep going here. Here is, you recognize this gentleman? He was almost asked, this is Sanjay Gupta, Dr. Sanjay Gupta. He's like America's doctor, right? He's on CNN. And he was offered the job of Surgeon General, but he opted to stay and continue as a medical correspondent for CNN. I want you to hear what he says. Now, a lot of times what I do is I'll show you the research and I'll show you some of the, the statistics, show you these things that are out there in the news. But I find that people become much more convinced when they just see it on the 6 o'clock news. Is that true? When you see it and hear it. In fact, there is a Chinese proverb that says, what I hear, I forget. But what I see, that I remember. So I want you to see tonight what I'm saying to you from someone who has a reputation for bringing good information. Yeah? And pretty balanced, too. Here's Sanjay Gupta. Oh, we got to have some sound, though. Let's just leave it up.
I talk about this a lot. You heard me say this before. But the evidence just got even stronger for food as medicine. Cleveland Clinic researchers have now confirmed that food can heal your heart. Their study published in the Journal of Family Practice found that a plant-based diet not only prevents heart attacks, but can actually reverse the damage. First of all, out of the patients who tried the vegan diet, almost 9 out of 10 stuck with it. 81% had fewer symptoms and experienced fewer complications from heart disease. A whopping 22% reversed signs of heart disease. And the participants lost almost 20 pounds each on average.
You have some easy to remember adages about how people can decide what they should or should not eat.
We know what they shouldn't eat. That is oil, dairy, meat, fish, and chicken. What do we want them to eat? We want them to eat all those whole grains for their cereal, bread, and pasta, beans, vegetables, yellow, red, green, and fruit. Now, what particular vegetables do we want them to have? Bok choy, Swiss chard, kale, collards, collard green, beet greens, mustard green, turnip greens, napa cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, cilantro, parsley, spinach, and arugula, and asparagus. And I'm out of breath.
All right, let's everybody say exactly what he just said. That was Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn. Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn is also someone who really pioneered this idea of reversing heart disease. He's written books about it, but I tell you, if you want someone who knows what he's talking about, it is Caldwell Esselstyn, because I know people personally who have gone to him. He actually takes people to come out to his ranch, and he has them just stay, and they reverse their heart disease through food. Isn't that something? food is a medicine, right? And medicine can be your food. Now, let's look at some research. I love this research. This is amazing research. This is research from 1953. From 1953, here's what they did. This was in the Journal of the American Medical Association. They looked at 300 autopsies of American casualties. The average age was 22. 77% had visible evidence already of coronary atherosclerosis. That is the hardening of the arteries, yeah? How old were they? How young is that, right? That's too young. That's too young. That was in what year? What do you think it's like now? Well, this study was published in the American Heart Journal. This was accidental deaths. They took basically accidental deaths between ages 3 and 26. They found first stage of atherosclerosis, that's the fatty streaks that leads to heart disease, found in nearly all American children, what age? 10. By 10. 10 years of age. Now, what might be accounting for this? It starts to come into focus when you think about the fact that every 40 seconds somebody drops dead of a heart attack. Some 700 and some thousand cases of heart attacks every single year. That's not even the worst part of it. Another 350,000 have a second heart attack. Now, I want you to just pause with me for a second. And I want you to think about why in the world would someone have one cardiac arrest episode and then turn around and have another one? Something happened along the way. What do you think it was? She said genetics. Let's consider that for a moment. That's heredity, right? Some would say that genetics or your genetics, let's just deal with that, or heredity, loads the gun, but lifestyle pulls the trigger. What do I mean by that? In other words, all the research science there is available to mankind would show that 75%, 75, remember that number, 75% of these chronic illnesses, including heart disease, are largely a matter of choice. In other words, people have chosen. Heredity is only about 25%, right? This is what the research shows us. And I want that to really sink in, because if we continue to think that way, we think that genetics is our fate, right? It's not. In fact, they did a powerful study. I'm really glad you gave that answer, because it helps me to be able to expand on this. And this idea of, well, you know what? My mother had it, and her mother had it, and it goes back way in our family. We've all had it. But we find that if you eat the way that mama did, and the way her mama did, and back and back and back, then guess what? Everybody has those same disease processes, right? The same type of issues. And it's because we're doing the same thing. What we want to do is break away and do what is really available to us. And now it's so clear. It's like what Sanjay Gupta said. He says the evidence just keeps piling up. It gets better and better and better, right? So there was a study that they did. They took identical twins, and they put one on a SAD diet. Does anyone know what a SAD diet is? S-A-D? Standard. Look at this class. I like it. Everybody gets an A. Standard American diet, and they put someone on a healthier diet, right? Largely of plants, okay? And because genetics were almost identical, of course, they were twins, right? They had the same DNA. And yet, when they followed them over like a 20-year period. That was a really long study. And then they examined them. Although they were basically the same persons with different names, right? What do you think happened to the one who had the SAD diet? Major issues. Obesity, high blood pressure, the beginning of heart disease, whereas the other was in excellent shape and excellent condition. So we see that it's not your genetics, it's your lifestyle and the choices that we make. So this guy, I like what he said as he looked at this research. This is Dr. Michael Greger. He wrote the book, How Not to Die. Wow, what a name. When we have to have a book called How Not to Die, that means we are really ignorant to how to live, right? And the From Sickness to Health seminar is all about how to help us live, right? How to live. So in his book, How Not to Die, he says, the question isn't whether or not you want to eat healthier to prevent heart disease, but whether or not you want to reverse the heart disease you already have. Based on that 1953 study, based on this study that followed right behind that, where you saw 10-year-olds already having the onset of atherosclerosis, based on that, even right in this room right now, there's probably the beginning or late stages of heart disease. So what do? You start to take the things that we're talking about and you apply them to your life. And I have to say, some ethnic groups are much more susceptible to these issues than others, right? Do you know who's high on the list of having these issues? Well, Americans, we're bad. We're just like, the whole world looks at us and says, what is their problem? You know? African Americans, we have the highest of everything. High blood pressure, we have issues with heart disease, we have issues with diabetes, high, right? There are several reasons. Thank you for that. He asked the question, why is that? Well, unfortunately, we come out of, some things are cultural. And we come out of a cultural situation where we ate, we like to say, high of the hog. It's just bad, you know. Southern cuisine, you know. This is a lot of fried food. This is a lot of meat products, right? And these things really affect us disproportionately than other ethnic groups. Now, Latinos are right there. They're next, right? And story about a Spanish brother. I'm telling you that the things that I'm sharing with you really, really work. There was a Spanish brother. He had severe heart disease. I mean severe. So severe, he could not get up from his bed, walk over to his bathroom, which was just about 10, 15 steps away, without taking nitroglycerin for his heart. That's how bad he was. And my friend, who I may show you a video if we have time, came onto my show. He was treating him, so I know this story personally. And he labeled him Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean. Why? He called him that because this particular gentleman came to him and asked him the question, you know, am I going to die? And this particular doctor friend of mine, he's very honest. He says, I'm sorry to tell you, you are going to die. He was only in his 40s. He says, you are going to die. So it would be good if you go ahead and get your affairs together. Oh, you never want to be told that. But nonetheless, he was told. He goes back to Mexico. He's out there, way out in the country, you know, and what he had every single day was just beans and rice. Beans and rice. Beans and rice every single day. Beans and rice. And guess what happened? His heart disease reversed. He comes back to Los Angeles like 2 years later, walks into my friend Dr. Palmer's office, and Dr. Palmer looks at him and thinks he's seeing a ghost. He cannot believe this man is still alive. His heart was that badly damaged. He says, you're still alive. He says, what happened? He says, I don't know. I ate beans every day. Beans actually do something to make your heart healthy. If you want a good protein, that's what you want. Beans. Beans with everything. Beans, in fact, when they are working with people who have diabetes, they keep beans in every meal. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, beans. And if you think that you can't get good protein from beans, you don't know beans. That was a joke. Okay, look, watch this. Now, this is how serious it is. I like this animation because it really puts it into perspective.
Every year from...
I really would like to leave that up. If we could just leave it on because I have several videos, appreciate it. Hey, give Andrew a hand. He is a part of the magnet school, and he's training as we are doing these meetings. Andrew's up there, and he's controlling. Yes. Wave, Andrew. He's a good guy. Thank you, Andrew. Let's leave that up. Okay, so here it is. Check out this animation.
Over 17 million people die every year from cardiovascular disease. It is the leading cause of death around the world. Nearly 1 out of every 3 people will die from this disease. The amount of people who die from cardiovascular disease is the equivalent of 4 jumbo jets crashing every single hour, every single day, every single year.
That's all I wanted you to see. Jumbo jets crashing with that level of frequency. And yet, we don't really hear the outcry. We need to do something about why people are having so many heart attacks and dying, right? Now, you can't quite make that out, but that basically is some very sophisticated equipment where you see the sarcophagus of an Egyptian mummy, right? Now, here's the thing. Because of the state-of-the-art technology that we have today, we're able to see what was affecting Egyptians even 4,000 years ago. Guess what the number one problem was for Egyptians 4,000 years ago? You got it. Heart disease. But they had all the lifestyle issues that we have. Now, this was an article that ran, or it was a research study that was quoted in the AP, and it says, even without modern day, watch this now, watch this. I want you to really take this in. Because what we're going to put our finger on the problem. You with me? Are you with me? Because I'm ready to put my finger on the problem. Okay, all right, here we go. Even without modern day temptations like fast food or cigarettes, people had clogged arteries some 4,000 years ago, according to the biggest ever hunt for the condition in mummies. It goes on. It says, researchers suggest that heart disease may be more a natural part. Yeah, a natural part of human aging rather than being directly tied to contemporary risk factors like smoking, eating fatty foods, and not exercising. In other words, you're just getting old, even though Japanese must be very different because they don't have this problem. You know, they eat smaller portions, they eat more vegetables, they do a lot of soy, but they don't do a lot of meat. And if they do, they have little small portions of it. So they don't see the kind of heart disease that we have. So this study is basically saying they're very different from everybody else. But it gets better. So heart disease is the conclusion. Heart disease has been stalking mankind for over 4,000 years. Do you understand? Do you get the picture? Do you see the imagery? So what's basically happening is heart disease is lurking behind some bushes, and when you go by, it jumps on you. That's ridiculous, right? But that's what a reputable institution with a scholar who has done some research, so-called, who's concluding, Dr. Randall Thompson, is that heart disease is just a natural occurring event when you get older, and it has been around for 4,000 years. Do you believe it? That's one of the problems. That's part of the problems, faulty research that is somehow pushing an agenda. I hate to say it, but I have to say it. It's sort of like cigarettes. Did you know that once upon a time, cigarettes were prescribed for respiratory disease? Nicotine was actually prescribed. And all the way down, and I've done the research. I looked at when cigarettes came onto the market, when they were, targeted women, they really pushed it at you, right? It was glamorous. Oh, you need to smoke a cigarette to be cool. In fact, they even named one of them Cool Cigarettes, right? Oh, you get on your horse, smoke a cigarette. You were cool, right? So, then, as you go through the years, you find that doctors, I can show you the ads. Your doctor, good doctors, smoke Camels. Yes, that was the ad. Somebody wrote that, and it was in the magazines. And here's what they found. As we've discovered that cigarettes really did cause cancer, they finally published that study. But they found once the doctors were already addicted to the cigarettes, they were less inclined to tell you to stop smoking. You catch that? They were less inclined to say, you need to get off of the nicotine. Fast forward, 2022. Doctors who have heart disease, who are eating a diet that is the SAD diet, are less inclined to tell you what? What the best diet is for you. You with me? And I'm going to show you why. Now let me give a disclaimer. This is in no way me attempting to malign doctors. They're very good doctors. We need doctors. But we need doctors who actually are giving us the research studies and sharing the science with their patients that actually help us to be healthy. We can be, and we should be, because the human body was not designed, listen very carefully, the human body was not designed to be cared for by someone in a white coat. Instead, it was designed to be cared for by who? Oh, you are way too quiet. It was designed to be cared by who? By you, by what you put in it. Life and death sometimes is right at the end of a fork. And they have said that many people are digging their graves with a fork and spoon. Are you listening to me this evening? Oh, I'm here to bring change. What did I say last night is the goal of this seminar? We want to see Willimantic, one of the healthiest places in the country. We want it to be a blue zone. We can have blue zones everywhere. Why not Willimantic? We can literally go from a life of sickness to a life of health just by making changes. Simple changes. You have them up there. All right. Watch this. It gets better. So Thompson said he was surprised to see hardened arteries even in people like the ancient Aleutians who were presumed to have a healthy lifestyle as hunters and gatherers. So even these people who were out hunting, they too had heart disease. Why do you think so? What were they hunting? Were they hunting broccoli? Were they hunting cauliflower? What were they hunting? They were hunting things that were causing disease in their hearts. Right? Does that make sense? So I wonder why Dr. Randall Thompson was so surprised. Now, watch this. This little segment, again, Sanjay Gupta, the last heart attack is what it was called, the last heart attack. I want you to see what happened.
Not himself. I spent time with him and saw that he looked tired, not himself.
Got all pale and weak. And then I got all these letters from the doctor crowd saying, yeah, it's normal because fools like you won't do what you're supposed to do because you don't eat like you should, you don't exercise like you should.
Andrew, bring it down a little bit. Bring it down a little bit.
doctor said it was a mechanical failure of the bypass, and he needed stents to open the blocked artery.
I got so lucky they were able to put those 2 stents in, you know, and fix an artery that was pretty bent and ugly.
The goal of the treatment, and I think it will be achieved, is for President Clinton to resume his very active lifestyle. This was not a result of either his lifestyle or his diet, which have been excellent.
But Dr. Dean Ornish didn't see it that way.
And so I wrote him a letter and I said, you know, the friends that mean the most to me are the ones that tell me what I need to hear, not necessarily what I want to hear. And you need to know that your genes are not your fate. And I say this not to blame you, but to empower you. And I'm happy to work with you to whatever extent you want to move forward in that way. And we met a few days later and he said he was ready to do it.
I essentially concluded that I had just played Russian roulette, because even though I had changed my diet some and cut down on the caloric total of my ingestion and cut back on how much of high cholesterol food I was eating, I still, without any scientific basis to support what I did, was taking in a lot of extra cholesterol.
Wow. That's amazing. Pause. Think about that. So Bill Clinton, according to that doctor, he was healthy. And you know, we as Americans, when he was president, you all remember that? Yeah. You remember seeing Bill Clinton? He was always jogging. Remember that? Early morning, behind him were the Secret Service. They were jogging with him. And what we didn't realize is we saw him jogging in those wee hours of the morning. Sometimes it wasn't even light out yet, and he was just jogging. But then we found out he was jogging to McDonald's. Oftentimes, yes, he was. He admitted he loved a quarter pounder with cheese, a milkshake, and he loved having an apple pie with fries. In fact, he loved it so much, he sent people out often because he had everyone at his disposal. He didn't even want them to make it there at the White House. He said he would send people out to get him a burger, a milkshake, fries, and one of those apple pies. We even have him on camera saying, I just had one just now. This is what he loved. And yet, this doctor said what? It had nothing to do with his lifestyle, had nothing to do with his diet. Now, think with me for just a second. A doctor who has as a patient the President of the United States, is he just a so-so doctor? Is he just a doctor who somebody just went on the internet and said, I hope I can find somebody who could help the president out? No, you've got the best of the best of the best. Yet this doctor said it had nothing to do with his diet. And Dean Ornish, who had written several seminal books on the subject, he comes along and says, look, don't listen to what they're saying. Let me help you. Now, is Bill Clinton still alive? Do you know what Bill Clinton eats now? A lot of broccoli. He is on a plant-based diet. He's on a plant-based diet. Now, let's get right down to the issue here. Medical schools offering a single course in nutrition down 37%. I don't know what it's down. This was just a couple years ago, but it's been down. So, in other words, doctors know a lot of things, but they don't. Now, this is not a hit against them. It's just the reality. And the reality is that they're not required to take nutrition courses. They're not. Look, let me give you the case in California. So, there was a bill introduced by California state legislature to mandate nutritional education for physicians. It was killed by the California Medical Association. Now, the mandate was that it would be at least 12 hours of nutrition training anytime over the next 4 years. That's what the bill stated. Does that sound reasonable? Sounds reasonable. Just how many hours? 12 hours of nutrition training for doctors. The CMA, that's the California Medical Association, opposed it, along with California Academy of Family Physicians. The bill was amended from a mandatory minimum of 12 hours to 7 hours and then down to 0. This is the research that I'm giving you. This was just 7 years ago. Not much has changed, my friends. Not much has changed. You see why you have to be the CEO of your own health? If you're going to go from sickness to health, you have to really study and learn these things, the things that I'm sharing. And in fact, the group here in Willimantic, thank you. In Willimantic, Tina, you're going to be having some kind of a program, right? Like 10 weeks where people can come and learn how to implement these things. That's what you want to do. You want to be involved in how do you do it? Because it's one thing to just hear these things, but you need to see it. You need to be able to touch it, feel it, experience it, taste and see, right? And when you apply those things, you'll get the results. But we're getting to the problem at hand. It's because we don't know. And you can go to your doctor and say, well, explain this to me. But they don't know any more than you do. In fact, they did a study. Did you know this? They did a study where they went to people on the street and asked them questions about nutrition. And they then asked the doctors the same questions. They found the following results. The people on the street edged out the physicians by just a little bit, knowing more than what they knew about nutrition. I told you people become experts, they think anyway. Once you say, hey, I'm going to be plant-based, how are you going to get your protein? I'm going to say something about that before I end. Now, here's the fact. The Global Burden of Disease study identified the typical American diet as the primary cause of Americans' death and disability. Yep. More than 100,000, this is a fact, from a study that was in 2015, more than 100,000 lives per year could be saved if people just ate their fruits and veggies. Here is the point. Because the doctors aren't getting the information, because there's faulty research that is going to actually be catering more to an industry that makes it more important that you eat a certain way. You know this, right? Oprah Winfrey had this guy, the Mad Cowboy was his name. He came onto the Oprah Winfrey show, and he told her as a cattle rancher how he had come down with cancer, and they gave him no time to live, or just a little time to live, and then he changed his diet to a plant-based diet, and no more cancer. And then Oprah Winfrey couldn't believe it. She said, what? I'm never going to eat a hamburger again. Do y'all know this story? You remember that? And then the sale of beef plummeted, and the cattle industry sued Oprah Winfrey. It's all about the Benjamins. They sued her and him for, they have something called the Disparaging Act, right? Food Disparaging Act. That's what it's called. And the Food Disparaging Act says that if you say something on television to the whole world and it's not true, they can sue you. But guess what happened? It was true. So they lost. So they changed the Food Disparaging Act. Guess what the bill says now, or the law says? If you say something, whether it's true or not, and it causes people to lose money, they can sue you, and you will be liable. Catch that? They moved the goalposts. They changed the rules. Why? Because there's a narrative that needs to keep being pushed. It's all about the money. But we, listen, friends, we cannot be subject to somebody else's greed or desire for gain with our health. We cannot roll the dice with it, especially in a time when the risk factors, listen, need to be lowered, not increased. And we know that a certain diet actually makes us more susceptible to heart disease, makes us more susceptible to cancer, makes us more susceptible to diabetes, high blood pressure, and so forth. Now, let me just give you a quick, simple, who is that with that nice, beautiful, dark mane of hair? That's my younger brother. No, that was a few years ago before I went up to the mountaintop and my hair turned white. Hey, we're good, right? You and me, man. You and me, Tip. Okay, I'm going to show you this and close with this. This was from my show, From Sickness to Health. But I want to tell you a little something about nutrition. People always say, how you get your protein? How you get your protein? Where you getting your protein, right? Has anyone here, by the way, ever heard that? Oh, yeah. We get that, right? Let me just give you a quick lesson on protein. First of all, protein is the building block, amino acids, which is what protein is made from, right? It's the building block of every type of tissue on the planet, plants or animals, right? And basically, plants, hear me out, are the only thing on the planet that produces protein. You didn't hear what I just said. Plants are the only thing on this planet that produces protein. That's it. How do the cows get it? How do the gorillas get it? How do any of the animals that are largely vegetarian or even whatever, how do they get it? They get it from eating plants. Their body metabolizes it, digests it, metabolizes it, and then converts it to protein in their system, in their tissue, in the same way that we do. Right? So therefore, when you eat the animal, have I told you what to eat yet? Have I? I haven't. I'm just giving you information. You're smart people. You're going to make your own decisions, right? Especially after I tell you this. You don't need as much protein as you think. You don't. Only time you need it is when you are young. Your body is growing. That's when you need it, right? It's sort of like, I hate to bring this up, but it's sort of like the study that was done over a century ago where they looked at the need for combining protein, where they said that plants, listen, do not contain enough protein to sustain the human body. Do you realize that that research was lingering around for 100 years and still being used by people? And that's why you hear people say, how you get your protein. It was from that study from the 1800s. It's crazy, right? Early 1900s. Crazy. And what were they doing? They were taking mice, rats, and they were feeding them plants. And they noticed that the mice, the rats, didn't grow very much from plants. So they said, oh, well, there you go. There's your answer, right? Well, guess what? It's no wonder. That's not how mice and rats grow. Rats and mice need a high-protein milk. If you want to get some really high-protein milk, rat milk is really, really high in protein. It's just not, it's hard to sell because, anyway. Rat protein is 10 times more potent than human being protein. Milk and the protein in the milk. 10 times. Why? Because rats and mice need to grow 10 times faster. Now imagine, by the way, they didn't, when they tried to use a woman's breast milk with a rat, that didn't help them to grow either. They need what? The protein that comes from its own species. But of course, what do? We try to find other species. And I tell you what, we have so many things right now that are so good in terms of milk and ice cream. I tell you, you don't even need something that's from dairy anymore. Is that true? Anybody trying those? You were telling me last night. You've got, how many types of milks are there now? You've got almond milk. You've got cashew milk, rice milk. They even have oat milk. They have hemp milk, flaxseed milk, macadamia milk. They've got everything. And if you've not tried it, it's excellent, right? So you don't need it. Okay, let me give you a scenario, show you the video, and then close, and then we go out and sample. Real quick. Okay, so if protein is the building blocks of every tissue, living tissue, on the planet, then we can liken it to like building a house, right? The carbon dioxide in the air, the plants take it in through the leaves. But the nitrogen that comes down, that's atmospheric, is actually absorbed through the plant, through the roots. And I'm a gentleman farmer. I got a little, little farm, and I grow some things. And anybody else grow food here? Anybody? Have you ever seen what happens? You can spray water on those cucumbers, those watermelon, all day long, as much as you like. But when it rains, that nitrogen air or water comes down, and you come outside, and that thing is about 4 or 5 times bigger, isn't it? That's just a miracle of growing, isn't it? But what the nitrogen does is it basically, and I don't want to get into the whole chemistry of it, but it's really fascinating how it takes that nitrogen, and with the microbes in the soil, it converts it to amino acids, which then become protein, which becomes available to us when we eat it. And then so let's just say in building a house, right? Once you build the house, like with the amino acids, the protein, you build your house. Do you need to have more building supplies brought every day to your house? Why not? Do you need that truck coming in every day and saying, here's some more wood after you finish building your house? After the human body has been formed and you're an adult, why do you need to keep building onto it? You don't. So the truth is, you don't really need to keep adding protein. Here is the point that you need to take with you. Protein is not stored up in the body. It's always converted to carbohydrates, which is burned up by movement and just normal metabolism. You're not storing protein. So people who say, oh, I want to bulk up, I'm going to lift weights, I need to do a protein shake. Let me tell you, all they're doing is producing very expensive urine because the body's getting rid of it because it doesn't store it. It's in the plants. The animals know it's in the plant. We should know it's in the plants. And when we understand it's in the plants, then it helps us to be healthy and we don't suffer from the things that I'm talking about. Now, watch Dr. Schubert Palmer. He's a cardiologist in Los Angeles, California. He's a good friend of mine. I brought him onto my show, and he's going to give a little demonstration. We're going to close with this, but it's very memorable. Let's try that again.
This, which goes in the mouth, to this.
Take a look here. This is the amount of fat that you'll see in 1 cup of skim milk.
A skim milk.
Skim milk. This is in 1 cup of whole milk.
This is almost full.
Uh-huh. Now, skim milk tastes pretty nasty, I must confess,
Yes.
personally.
Yes.
I would much rather this. But there's even a better way, and that is, as we talk about fats, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right.
And this is pretty much bad fat.
Okay.
Here is another example. This is 3 ounces of a 3-ounce fish serving. And then here we have, this is a 3-ounce chicken roasted, no skin.
That's halfway full.
Halfway full. And that's the best part of the chicken.
So, and this is the best part of the chicken,
Yeah.
but this
You know,
is
the
not
breast without the skin.
without the skin. But this isn't going to affect my heart, is it?
It definitely does.
Oh.
It gets even better. This is a regular potato chips.
Not the potato chips.
Wait a minute. This is completely full of fat, and you're saying this is 12 to 20 chips, 1 ounce? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But people love their potato chips. They sit on the couch, they watch the game, and they eat bowls and bowls of them, and they dip them in something that also has fat.
Well, as I tell my patients, you enjoy this kind of food? I said, it's bad for you, but it's good for me.
As a heart surgeon.
Here we go with, this is the small size of French fries. That's the amount of fat in a small serving of French fries.
Hold up. This is mind-blowing to me. This is a small serving of French fries. We're not talking about like when they are extra supersized in some way. This is the smallest version that you
Smallest
can get, and it fills up a complete.
Test tube right there.
You know, but I want to make sure that we understand this because, you know, someone said, well, that's a small test tube of fat. How could this be a bad thing? But you're saying it is.
It is, because that has to go somewhere. And as you study the circulations, we find out that they land up in the process. Of course, it goes to the liver and then from there on, but it lands up many times in these arteries, the cholesterol, and the fats land up somewhere.
So when you're going in as a surgeon and you're looking, now most people have never looked inside of a heart. You do it every day, all the time, yes?
We do.
And what you're seeing is the stuff that we don't think is actually going anywhere except into our stomach is ending up in our hearts and is causing major, major problems.
You are what you eat. Garbage in, garbage out.
Mercy.
Quality in, quality out. Take a look at this one. This is for one hot dog.
What kind of a hot dog?
A dead dog.
A dead dog, hot dog. Okay.
And here's my favorite.
This one's coming out the thing.
It's come on, yeah. But how about the quarter-pound cheeseburger?
A quarter pounder of cheeseburger.
Here is the fat in a quarter-pound cheeseburger. I'm going to need your help. Help me there.
Okay.
And that, and that, and that.
I'm sorry, you mean one of these? So
All three.
This is 3 quarter pounders of cheese.
One serving.
This is one
pound.
serving.
A quarter-pound cheeseburger.
You know what? I'm going to hold these right here. Because there are a lot of people on the street. Wow. Now, don't want to make anyone feel bad if you just came here and before you came, you had a quarter-pound cheeseburger. We're learning, right? We're learning. Is this understandable teaching? I think we have something, Carmelo and Tina, where are you? Where are you? I want to thank you. Give yourselves a round of applause for being so attentive. So glad you're here and we're learning together. Are we giving away something tonight?
We absolutely are. We told you about prizes last night. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm excited about that talk, Rico. That was excellent. Did you enjoy that, Carmelo?
Yeah, I guess, my body didn't attack me today.
No.
Maybe it's my fault.
No, it
Isn't learning fun?
Learning's great. Learning's great.
So, Carmelo, you learned that maybe it wasn't what your heart was doing to you, but what you were doing to your heart.
I guess I should have ate your lunch.
Yes. Well, you know what? We have something really good to feed you this evening, and for all of you, and also at our virtual sites as well. We are serving a barley and oat patty with country gravy. Doesn't that sound delicious?
Sounds delicious to me.
Sounds good.
We're going to serve that with a tomato salad high in nutrients.
Yum.
Yes, and so all of you will get to try that and also take home the recipe. But before we do that,
Can I ask a question? So
Yes.
they're just sampling tonight. They're getting just a little taste of some things, right?
yeah.
But at some point, they're going to have like a full meal?
Yes, Rico is giving you the little teaser there. We are going to have a full, healthy, delicious, enjoyable meal on, can we tell them when that is?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll tell them.
Okay.
It's going to be on Sunday. My belly's going to be full that day. So,
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it.
So a full meal.
Full
Sample
meal.
now, but on Sunday, full meal.
Oh, absolutely.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
It's going to be food that loves you back, not heart attack.
true.
Yes.
True.
Sweet.
Okay.
Can I hold this while you?
Thank you, thank you,
There you
thank
go.
you. So let me tell you what's in there, Rico.
What's here?
We have tickets for all of the ladies. These are tickets from the ladies that are in attendance tonight.
Why just the ladies?
Just the ladies.
Because their heart beats faster? What is it?
Well, ladies always first, right? Ladies
all right,
first. So,
all right.
ladies first.
So Carmelo is holding right here. Tonight's prize, first prize, is a Fitbit for the ladies. Who likes that idea? Okay, now if you
Oh,
don't.
wait a minute.
So
They don't
okay,
see-
you're doing the
they don't-
ladies first, then you're going to do the guys.
Ladies
Yeah,
first.
but-
and
Because I
then
was about to say, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah, but the ladies don't seem too excited, though.
No.
Well, let's just go to the men then.
Okay. Well, maybe they don't know what's in this Fitbit, okay? So tell them a couple
Yeah.
of things that this does.
So you get 24/7 heart rate tracking. It tracks your step, active minutes, and calories. It even sleep stages and sleep score. That's a new feature for this one. So that's going to be awesome. And it says here, female health tracking.
Okay, so it's going to help.
So specifically for women.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's do it.
It's going to be helpful here to show how well you're doing with some of these health principles that we've been learning. Okay, so may the best woman win. Okay, so if you have ticket number 964-2703, 964-2703. Tim. Who has ticket number 964-2703?
Oh, no one?
Going once?
Going
Going
once?
once?
Okay, shall we
So close.
choose again?
Do another
Oh, I hate for you to miss out.
Come on.
Okay, next one. Okay, if you have ticket number 964-2704. 2704, are you
Anyone?
here?
No?
Is the theater too dark? Are we? Okay,
All right.
so the good news is your chances are getting better. Okay, this one has a little like caramel on it or something, so someone's snacking. Is your ticket 814-3102? Yeah!
there you go.
Okay.
All right.
Carmela presenter with her Fitbit. Congratulations.
All right, there you go.
Excellent.
Enjoy. Oh, you're very welcome.
Okay. So, gentlemen, you have your chance now. Carmelo will put the tickets of all you
right.
gentlemen in.
And this is for the guys, right?
attendance.
These are for the gentlemen.
All right. I'm going to pick them out this time. Something
Okay.
Let's see if I can do better and get it on the first go. Here we go. Here we are. Here is the ticket number 964-2716. I'm just as bad as you, Tina.
Come on. Is it that, Rico, maybe they don't want to know how their sleep is or how many steps
Maybe
they're
so.
taking?
We're going to force it on them. 964-2719er. 9. You got it?
There it is.
Wow,
Congratulations.
walk in and win.
Congratulations.
There you
right.
go.
Your new Fitbit.
Congratulations. All right. Awesome.
Okay. Now, for all of the rest of you, we have prizes throughout the week. So each time you come, you will.
I hear that there might be a bicycle that's given away. Is that true? See, we're just trying to really push or nudge you into a healthier lifestyle. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. They're waiting for you out in the lobby with some samples for you to try. Tomorrow night, we're going to be having the presentation, Where is the Rest of My Sleep? We're going to talk about sleeping. Americans don't sleep. Americans don't sleep well, and it is killing us. I'm going to share some very good tips about how you can get better sleep on Saturday. Saturday evening, what day did I say? Saturday, I'm going to do a presentation that is going to make you laugh. It's going to make you cry. It's going to make you cringe. Here is the name of that presentation. It's called The Constitution of Constipation. I knew you would be excited. We're going to show you how you can be a regular citizen. God bless you. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take care.